Where then does the strength of a man lie? Where does the strength of a woman lie? The answer to these questions will be found effectively by an individual who cares to seek. Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 to 8. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Also, Habakkuk chapter 3 verse 19. The Lord God is my strength, and he will make my feet like hinds' feet, and he will make me to walk upon my high places. In addition, Proverbs chapter 20 verse 5. The purposes of a man's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. Learn to look inwards in meditation acceptable to the Lord God, and also pay attention to what things motivate you the most. These things begin to manifest rather earlier in your life, depending on who you are. And it would be great if you have guardians or parents who notice it on time. To help you understand better, I'll use myself and one of my nephews as examples. There was a time when I was 7 years old. I took ill and couldn't go to school. So while at the house one evening, my dad was doing some work with regards to his private business, and he had a lot of paper on the table. I asked him for a piece of paper and a pen, and he gave them to me. There was something I realized about myself as a child. Anytime I saw a pen, I would suddenly have the urge to use it to write something, even if I had no idea what to write. So I had this pen and paper. I had nothing to write, but I felt this strong urge to write something because the pen was in my hand. So suddenly, I decided to start making sentences and numbering them. I formed simple sentences like, Odili is very sick. Odili has not been able to go to school for some time now, and so on. I didn't realize that my dad was paying attention. He was so excited with what I was doing and began to suggest taking it to the school to give my class teacher. I told him I wasn't writing it for my teacher. I just wanted to write something. I also couldn't understand why my dad was so excited over my forming sentences on a piece of paper, something we were made to do in school during English class. That passed. I went to sleep and totally forgot about that evening. The following week, I got better and went back to school. My teacher called me and asked me, "Were you the one that wrote that letter?" I squinted and asked, "What letter?" She said, "Your dad came during the week and gave me a letter from you to me." I was confused. But then I remembered the evening my dad was excited about my writing. But I never expected that he was serious about taking my writing to my teacher. It wasn't even a letter, let alone for her. He was genuinely proud of me for something I thought little or nothing about. Not long after that, I started creating my own comic books, as I could also draw and I love to draw. So I created characters and dialogue and action, illustrating everything together. I also had a friend in school who I used to freestyle stories with. We would take turns day by day if there was time. We would start with a name for a story we hadn't thought about previously, neither had we heard it anywhere. After forming a random name for a story, we would there and then start telling a story off the top of our heads for well over a cumulative hour. It took me till I was a fully grown adult to finally acknowledge that I was gifted with storytelling abilities and content creation, which I still find extremely easy to do till this very day. I'm still grateful to my father for genuinely appreciating something he saw in me that I thought little of, even though he didn't envision me as a writer or a storyteller. As for the story of my nephew, I find it even more interesting. When he was a toddler, still unable to talk, he would make rhythmic sounds with his baby babbles. Da 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 da, da 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 da. When he did it, he had an arm out like a choir conductor and always flicked his head backwards with the third da sound. There was a time one of us carried him and he began the song. We joined in, but abruptly. So he stopped us with a haphazard babbling, like an attempt at resetting the melodies, and then began to sing in rhythm for us to join in. And we chorused away with him. Da 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 da. Unlike my father, none of us were smart enough to appreciate the fact that this child actually had the gift of music. Sure enough, just before he turned 20, he got into teaching himself how to make beats. It was few years after then that I told him how he was as a baby, and he was amazed. Ironically, I seem to be the only one of all my siblings who even remembered, but I was glad I let him know because I understood, thanks to my father, how important it was for him to know. Today, he's one of Nigeria's music producers, producing beats for a lot of Nigerian musicians, known and unknown, who definitely don't know his origin story. My dad did something wonderful for me that has brought out something else in me. I find so much joy and fulfillment in helping people discover and bring out their gifts, even to the point of learning that craft myself and sharing with the person in question. And after they have mastered the craft, I move on back to my own thing. I don't wait to think about if it's a girl or a boy. I'm trying to help out. All I know is that I'm helping a human being in whom God has planted a gift that would benefit humankind. We can all learn something from my father. Appreciating a good potential in a child or even an adult and pointing it out can help them find their purpose. So if we do this for every boy and every girl coming up, we play our part in God's wonderful family of building one another up, of creating a situation where instead of one gender looking down on the other gender or a person looking down on another person, we may actually learn to appreciate and build one another and inevitably build a wonderful society. Imagine a father and a mother both doing for their children what my dad did for me. This is on individual level, but I have also realized that there are some general characteristics of men and women that will be good to know in order to help us understand and appreciate one another better. Rather than having the sexes battle each other, they actually build each other. And this is where my thoughts are with regards to bridging the gap between both genders and for both genders to love and appreciate one another truly and deeply, rather than fight with one another. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next upload. Don't forget to share the videos on other platforms and to your family and friends that may find the information helpful. God bless you.